I didn't mean to fall asleep on his shoulder. I was just so tired. The kind of tired that lives in your bones. The kind 3 jobs and no sleep can't fix. The subway car rocked, and before I knew it, my head tilted into the darkness of expensive wool. When I opened my eyes, I saw them first, his men, standing like statues, creating a wall around us. Then I heard his voice, low and absolute. "Don't wake her yet." I should have been terrified. This man, with his cold gray eyes and the kind of stillness that comes before violence, was Dominic Moretti. Everyone in Brooklyn knew that name. Everyone knew to look away. But when I finally sat up, stammering apologies, he didn't look at me like I was an inconvenience. He looked at me like I was a question he needed to answer. That was 3 days ago. 3 days since everything changed. 3 days since I started wearing my sunglasses indoors again, not because of the bruises, those had faded months ago, but because I was afraid of what people might see if they looked too closely. Afraid they'd see the truth, that I was still that girl. The one who stayed too long. The one who believed apologies instead of actions. You will feel so many emotions in this mysterious love story I'm about to tell. Please support us by clicking subscribe to the channel. The fluorescent lights at Sal's diner buzzed like dying insects. It was 2 in the morning, that dead hour when the city exhales and only the ghosts remain. I wiped down table 6 for the 3rd time, keeping my hands busy, keeping my mind quiet. That's how I survived now. Motion, purpose, never stopping long enough for the memories to catch up. Emma. His voice sliced through the empty diner like a blade through silk. I didn't turn around, didn't need to. I'd memorized that voice in my sleep, the way you memorize prayers or warnings or the sound of footsteps that mean danger. "We're closed," I said, scrubbing harder at a stain that didn't exist. "I'm not here for coffee." The air changed when Dominic Moretti entered a room. It got thinner, sharper, like everything was holding its breath, waiting to see what he'd do next. I finally turned, keeping the table between us like it could protect me from whatever this was. He wore a suit that cost more than I made in 6 months. Charcoal gray, perfectly tailored, the kind of elegance that came from old money or new violence. His dark hair was pushed back from his face, revealing features that would have been beautiful if they weren't so cold. Sharp jaw, Roman nose, eyes the color of winter storms. "You've been working here 6 months, he said, not moving from the doorway. "You never take off those glasses, even at night." "Why?" My hands stilled on the table. How did he know I'd been here 6 months? How did he know anything about me? "Fashion choice," I said, forcing lightness into my voice. Liar. The word wasn't cruel, just factual, like he could see through my skin, through my bones, all the way down to the scared animal hiding at my center. "What do you want?" My voice cracked on the last word. Betraying me. He moved then, crossing the diner in 3 measured steps. Not threatening, not aggressive, but inevitable, like a tide or a season or the moment you realize you've already lost. He stopped at my table, pulled out a chair, and sat. The casual intimacy of it, the assumption that he could just exist in my space, made my throat tight. 6 months ago, you moved to Brooklyn from Manhattan. You work 3 jobs. This diner, a bookstore on 5th, and weekend shifts at a dry cleaner. You pay cash for everything. No credit cards, no paper trail. You haven't used your real name since you left your last apartment. He paused, and something shifted in his expression. Something almost like concern. "You're running from someone." I couldn't breathe, couldn't think past the roaring in my ears. "You're stalking me. I'm observing you." "That's the same thing." "No." He leaned back in the chair, perfectly at ease while I was fracturing. "Stalking is about control. Observation is about understanding. I want to understand why a woman who's clearly educated, clearly capable, is working herself to death at jobs that pay minimum wage. Why she wears sunglasses at 2 in the morning. Why she flinches when anyone moves too fast. You don't know anything about me. I know you take the F train every night. I know you get off at York Street and walk 3 blocks out of your way to avoid the bodega on the corner because the owner's son looks at you wrong. I know you haven't seen your family in 8 months. I know." "Stop." The word came out jagged, broken. "Just stop." Dominic went quiet. The silence stretched between us, heavy and alive. Outside, A car alarm wailed. Inside, the refrigerator hummed its lonely song. And I stood there, trapped between the urge to run and the terrible, traitorous part of me that wanted to stay. That wanted someone, anyone, to see me. "I can help you," he said finally. "Whatever you're running from, I don't need your help. Everyone needs help sometimes. Not from someone like you." His expression didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes. Hurt, maybe, or recognition. Someone like me. "I know who you are, Mr. Moretti. I know what you do, and I don't want any part of it." He stood then, slowly, like he was moving underwater, reached into his jacket. I flinched, I couldn't help it, and pulled out a business card. Plain white, black text, just a phone number. He placed it on the table between us with the same care someone might use handling nitroglycerin. "When you're ready to stop pretending you're fine," he said, "call that number." "I won't." "You will." He turned toward the door, then stopped, looking back over his shoulder. "The man you're afraid of, the one you testified against 3 years ago. Marcus Chen. He got out of prison 6 weeks ago." My entire body went cold. The room tilted. "How do you—" "I make it my business to know things. And I know he's been asking questions about you, offering money for information. Someone's going to tell him where you are, Emma. It's just a matter of time." He paused at the door, silhouetted by the streetlight. "When that happens, you'll wish you'd called." Then he was gone. Just like that. Like he'd never been there at all. I stood frozen, staring at the business card on the table. My reflection stared back at me from the darkened window. Pale, thin, wearing sunglasses in the middle of the night like armor, like a shield that had already failed. Marcus Chen. The name I'd spent 3 years trying to forget. The name I'd buried under new addresses and new jobs, and the desperate, foolish hope that if I stayed invisible long enough, the past would forget about me too. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Should have thrown it in the trash and run. But my thumb moved before my brain could stop it, swiping to accept the call. Silence on the other end, just breathing. Slow, steady, familiar. Then, "Hello, Emma? Did you miss me?" The phone slipped from my hand, clattering onto the linoleum. Marcus's voice continued, tinny and distant. "I've missed you. Every single day. Every single hour. And now I'm home, and we have so much to catch up on. Don't we?" I ran. Out the back door of the diner, into the alley, into the October night that bit at my skin like teeth. My feet slapped against wet pavement, my breath coming in ragged gasps, my mind screaming run, run, run like it had been screaming for 3 years. I didn't see the car until it was right in front of me. Black. Sleek. The back door opening before I could stop. "Get in." Dominic's voice. Dominic's hand extended toward me. Dominic's gray eyes reflecting the streetlight like mirrors. Behind me, footsteps, running, getting closer. Emma, now. I grabbed his hand, let him pull me into the darkness. The door slammed shut and the car was moving before I could think, before I could breathe, before I could wonder if I'd just escaped one trap only to fall into another. "You were following me." I gasped. "I was protecting you." "From what?" He turned to look at me, and in the passing streetlights, his face was all angles and shadows. "From the man who's been sitting in a van outside this diner for the past 3 hours, watching you through a telephoto lens." He held up a tablet, security footage, a white van parked across the street, a figure visible in the driver's seat, and even in the grainy image, even through the windshield, I recognized him. Would know him anywhere. Marcus Chen, older, harder, free. "He was there," I whispered. "The whole time. He was right there." "Yes. Why didn't you?" "Because I needed you to understand that I'm not the monster in your story, Emma. He is. And right now, I'm the only thing standing between you and him." The car turned onto the bridge. Manhattan spread before us, glittering and indifferent. And somewhere behind us, in the Brooklyn night, Marcus Chen was hunting. Dominic's phone lit up. He glanced at it, and his entire body went rigid. Without a word, he turned the screen toward me. A photo, taken tonight, of me and Dominic in the diner, sitting at that table, separated by a business card and all the secrets we were keeping. and below it, a text message. From now on, no one touches you. Interesting. Let's see if the Moretti name can save you when I take everything you love. Starting with your sister. Give Lily my regards. Lily, my little sister. The one person I'd kept clean from all of this. The one bright thing I hadn't let Marcus destroy. She lived in New Jersey now, married to a good man, 2 kids, a house with a yard. Safe, or so I'd thought. Where is she? The words tore out of me. Dominic was already making calls. Rapid-fire Italian cutting through the car's silence. His driver accelerated, the city blurring into streams of light. I pressed my hands against my thighs to stop them shaking. She's fine, Dominic said, ending the call. I have people watching her house. She's inside with her family. They're safe. For how long? He didn't answer, which was an answer in itself. The Plaza Hotel rose before us like a monument to a world I'd never belonged to. Dominic's hand was on my elbow, guiding me through the lobby, past night staff who didn't look twice at a woman in a waitress uniform being escorted by a man in a $10,000 suit. The elevator doors closed. Just us and the ascending numbers and my reflection in the mirrored walls. A ghost of myself, pale and terrified. This is temporary, Dominic said, until we figure out Marcus's next move. I turned to face him. There is no we. You don't owe me anything. My wife died 5 years ago. Cancer. And before she died, she made me promise something. He met my eyes. That I would never look away when someone needed help. Her best friend was killed by her husband. Everyone knew. No one did anything. The elevator chimed. 23rd floor. He stopped at a door, swiped a keycard, and gestured me inside. The suite was enormous. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Central Park. Furniture that looked like art. I stood in the doorway, unable to cross the threshold. I can't afford this. You're not paying. I can't accept this. Your apartment building had a gas leak tonight. Did you know that? Anonymous call came in 20 minutes after you left for work. Fire department evacuated the whole building. He watched my face. You think that's a coincidence? No, I didn't. Marcus had always been strategic, methodical. I walked into the suite because there was nowhere else to go. The bathroom had a tub big enough to drown in. Marble, everything. I locked the door and sank to the floor, trying to remember how to breathe. 3 years. I'd given the police everything. They'd promised me protection, justice, and Marcus had smiled in the courtroom like I'd just told a joke. He took a plea deal, 18 months, and everyone acted like that was enough. Someone knocked on the bathroom door. Soft, almost apologetic. Emma, there are clothes in the bedroom, and food if you're hungry. I wasn't hungry, hadn't been hungry in 3 years, but I opened the door anyway. Dominic stood by the window, phone pressed to his ear. He'd taken off his jacket, rolled up his sleeves, and even from across the room, I could see the scars on his forearms, old burns, knife wounds. He ended the call and turned, caught me staring. Everyone has a history, he said quietly. Some histories are worse than others. Maybe. He crossed to the dining table where someone had left a tray. Coffee. Sandwiches. But we're all just trying to survive our past long enough to build a future. I sat because my legs were shaking and I was so tired of being strong. The coffee was perfect. Why are you doing this? I asked. The night you fell asleep on my shoulder, you had bruises on your wrist, old ones, healing, and you were wearing a name tag that said Sarah. He paused. But when you woke up, you looked at me with such terror that I knew you were hiding. And whoever you were hiding from had hurt you enough that even kindness looked like a trap. I couldn't speak. I had you investigated, not to hurt you, to help you. And when I found out about Marcus Chen, he stopped. My wife's friend died the same way you almost did, and I wasn't powerful enough then to stop it. So I'm what? Your redemption? You're a woman who deserves to sleep without nightmares. The words hit like a physical blow. Because he was right. I hadn't slept, really slept, in 3 years. My phone buzzed. The new one Dominic had given me. Unknown number. Don't, Dominic said. But I was already answering. Marcus's voice poured into my head like poison. The Plaza. Suite 2347. Very nice, Emma. I always knew you'd end up in expensive places. I dropped the phone. Dominic was there instantly, ending the call. He knows where I am. Of course he does. Dominic's voice was grim. He's been tracking your phone since the moment you left the diner. With a tracker he could follow, yes. He met my eyes. We needed to know if he was monitoring you digitally. You used me as bait. I used you as information. There's a difference. I stood so fast the chair fell backward. How is that different from what he did? Because I'm telling you the truth. And because when this is over, you get to walk away. Free. No one's ever free from men like you. Something flickered across his face. Pain, maybe? A knock at the door made us both freeze. Dominic moved like water, positioning himself between me and the entrance. His hand went to his waistband, to a gun I hadn't noticed, and I realized I'd been naive. He checked the security screen, relaxed fractionally, opened the door to reveal a young woman in hotel uniform holding a silver tray. Compliments of the house, Mr. Moretti. He took the tray, tipped her, closed the door. On the tray, a single envelope. My name written in handwriting I knew better than my own. Dominic opened it, read. His face went to stone. What? He handed me the note. The gas leak? That was foreplay. Tomorrow, I visit your sister, then the bookstore, then the dry cleaner. Every place you've touched. Emma, every person you've spoken to. Unless you come home, you have 24 hours. Love always. M. Below. A photo. Lily's house. Taken from across the street. Her kids visible in the window. I couldn't breathe. He's going to hurt them. No. He's going to try. There's a difference. Dominic's voice was certain. I have had people watching your sister's house since the moment I learned Marcus was free. I have had people watching every place you work, every street you walk. Why would you do that? Because some battles are worth fighting. And Marcus Chen, he's been on my radar longer than you know. Before I could ask what that meant, his phone rang. He answered, listened, and his expression changed. When? A pause. All of them. He ended the call and looked at me with something like regret. Marcus just burned down Sal's diner with a Molotov cocktail. No one was hurt, but the floor dropped out from under me. But the message is clear. I finished. I walked to the window, looked out at the city that had promised me safety. The park stretched below like a dark ocean. I should leave. Leave New York. Change my name again. Run. You've been running for 3 years. Has it worked? No, it hadn't. Then what do I do? Dominic came to stand beside me, close enough I could feel his heat. You let me handle this. I don't even know what that means. It means I make Marcus Chen disappear, legally or otherwise. I won't let you kill someone for me. I won't kill him unless he gives me no choice. That's not comforting. It's not meant to be. It's meant to be honest. My phone buzzed again. This time it wasn't a call. It was a video file. I pressed play before Dominic could stop me. The screen filled with footage I'd never seen before. Marcus's apartment. 3 years ago. And there I was, unconscious on the floor, while Marcus adjusted a camera, smiling at the lens. The video ended. A text appeared. I have 47 hours of us. Emma. Every beautiful moment preserved forever. Want me to share them with the world? Or come home? You have until sunrise. The phone slipped from my hands. Dominic caught it, read the message, and something in his expression turned absolutely lethal. Change of plans. We're not waiting for him to make the next move. His phone buzzed. He looked at the screen and went very still. What? I demanded. He turned the phone toward me. A security alert. From Lily's house. 2 words in red. Perimeter breach, and below it, a photo taken by one of Dominic's security cameras. A man in the yard, heading toward the back door where Lily's children slept. The timestamp. 2 minutes ago. The car ride to New Jersey was silent except for Dominic's fingers flying across his phone. Commands issued in Italian. Coordinates exchanged. A chess game played at 70 miles per hour while I sat rigid in the passenger seat. 2 minutes. That's how long ago someone had breached my sister's property. 2 minutes while we were still 23 minutes away. Your people, I said. They'll stop him. They already have. I turned to stare at Dominic. His face was illuminated by dashboard glow, all sharp angles and controlled fury. What does that mean? It means the man trying to enter your sister's house is currently face down in her backyard with 3 of my security team standing over him. He glanced at me. It means your sister and her family are safe. The relief flooded through me so intensely it felt like drowning. I pressed my forehead against the cold window and tried to remember how to breathe. Thank you, I whispered. Don't thank me yet. We pulled up to Lily's house 40 minutes later. It looked exactly like I remembered. White siding, black shutters, tire swing in the oak tree, Halloween decorations already out. Normal. Safe. Except for the 3 men in dark suits standing in the driveway like sentinels. Lily appeared in the doorway, pajama pants and an old sweatshirt, dark hair in a messy bun. She looked furious. Emma? What the hell is going on? I'd forgotten how her voice could cut through noise and fear. We hadn't spoken in 8 months, and now here I was, bringing danger to her door. I'm sorry, I started. But she was already pulling me into a hug so tight I couldn't breathe. There are armed men in my backyard. One of them is zip-tied to my fence, and you show up with... She pulled back. Noticed Dominic? Her eyes went wide. Oh my God, you're Dominic Moretti. Mrs. Sullivan, I apologize for the disruption, but your sister's life is in danger, and whoever sent that man was planning to use you as leverage. Lily looked between us, trying to understand how her invisible sister had ended up with the most dangerous man in New York. Inside. Now. Before the neighbors call the police. The house smelled like cinnamon and coffee. Family photos covered every surface. A whole life, ordinary and precious, and exactly what I'd given up the night I met Marcus Chen. Lily's husband Tom came downstairs. He looked at Dominic and went pale. I know who you are. Then you know that when I offer protection, it's absolute. The man in your yard works for Marcus Chen. He was armed. He had chloroform and zip ties in his pockets. Lily sank onto the couch. Marcus, Jesus, Emma, I thought that was over. So did I. He got out 6 weeks ago, Dominic continued. He's been tracking Emma, learning her routines, identifying her vulnerabilities. Tonight was an escalation. What do you want from us? Tom asked. I want you to take your family to a safe location. Tonight, I have a house upstate. You'll stay there until this is resolved. We can't just leave, Lily protested. Tom has work. The kids have school. Your kids will have a life, Dominic interrupted. Or they'll have a funeral. Those are the options Marcus Chen is offering. I'm giving you a third choice. The silence was suffocating. How long? Tom asked. A week? Maybe less? And what happens to Emma? Everyone looked at me. I was the danger. The thing that needed to be managed and contained. I'll handle Emma's situation personally, Dominic said. That's not an answer, Lily snapped. She crossed to me, took my hands. What's he going to do, Em? He's going to keep me alive. That's all that matters right now. 20 minutes later, Lily's family was gone. Dominic and I remained in the empty kitchen. The man in your yard, I said. What will you do with him? Ask him questions. And if he doesn't answer, he'll answer. People always answer when they understand the alternative. I don't want to know what that means. Good, you shouldn't. We drove to a warehouse in Newark, the kind that doesn't appear on maps. Dominic's men were waiting, 6 of them, armed, silent. Inside, mostly empty except for a chair under a hanging light. Danny Zhao sat handcuffed, blood under his nose. He looked up, terrified. Please, I didn't know. I wasn't going to hurt anyone. Who hired you? Dominic's voice was conversational. I don't know his name. Liar. Dominic moved fast. One moment beside me. The next crouched before Danny, hand wrapped around his throat. Not choking, just holding, just promising. I'm going to ask one more time. And if you lie again, I'm going to let my associate take over. Marcus, Danny gasped. Marcus Chen, he called me. Said he needed someone grabbed, said it was easy money. Did he say why? Something about sending a message. About showing some girl that no one could protect her. That the Moretti name didn't mean shit. Dominic released him. Stood. Looked at me. This isn't about you. It's about me. He's using you to get to me. I don't understand. Marcus Chen's brother. David. He died 5 years ago in a car accident. Except it wasn't an accident. David was trafficking women. Underage girls. My wife's friend was investigating it, writing an expose, and David Chen killed her for it. The pieces were fitting together. You killed him. David Chen, you killed him. I made sure he had an accident, and Marcus has known for 5 years. Dominic's jaw was tight. Until he realized I was protecting you. Now you're leverage against me. So I'm bait in a war I didn't even know existed. You're a woman who deserves to be safe, and I failed to keep you that way. My phone buzzed. A video, sent from an unknown number. I pressed play. Footage from inside Lily's house, from tonight. A hidden camera capturing everything. Me and Lily hugging, Tom packing, the kids confused and scared, and Dominic giving orders. The video ended. Text appeared. Nice security system. But I've been inside that house before. Emma. I installed that camera 6 months ago, when Lily hired me to fix her garbage disposal. Remember, when I told you I was getting my contractor's license? Your sweet sister gave me access to everything. A new video started. The warehouse. Right now. Us standing here. Camera angle from above. From the rafters. We weren't alone. We'd never been alone. The footage cut to black. I'm always watching. Emma. Always 3 steps ahead. Tell Moretti his warehouse on 9th. It's going to have a little fire in about 5 minutes. Nothing serious. Just enough to know I can touch anything he has, anyone he protects, starting with you. Dominic's phone exploded with notifications. The warehouse. It's on fire. All of them. 3 properties. Simultaneously, he looked at me, and in his eyes, I saw recognition. Marcus Chen wasn't just dangerous. He was smart, patient, and he'd been planning this longer than any of us realized. He's been watching me for months, I whispered. Not weeks, months. He knew about you before I did. Dominic made a call, listened. Then his entire body went rigid. What? He turned his phone toward me. A new message, not to me, to him. She's been living in your world for 3 days, Moretti. Time to show her what yours looks like when it burns. Check your penthouse. I left you a present. Below it, a photo. Dominic's penthouse, door forced open, and written on his wall in what looked like blood, she was never yours to save. The penthouse looked like a crime scene, not because of the blood, though there was blood, dark against the white wall, but because of what it spelled, she was never yours to save. I stood in the doorway while Dominic's team swept the apartment, looking for cameras, bombs, whatever else Marcus had left behind. It's pig's blood, someone said. Professional job, in and out in under 10 minutes. He disabled my security, Dominic said quietly. Too quietly. In my own home, I'd never seen him like this. In the warehouse, he'd been cold, controlled, but standing here, looking at his violated sanctuary, he looked almost human, almost vulnerable. I should go, I said. This is what he wants. To make you choose between protecting me and yourself. So I'll choose for you. I'll disappear. No. Dominic, you don't get to run. Not anymore. He turned to face me. Not when running is exactly what he expects. Then what do you want me to do? I want you to trust me. The words landed like a challenge, and I realized I didn't know how to trust anymore. Marcus had taken that ability. The belief that someone could help without wanting to control. I don't know how, I whispered. Something shifted in his expression. The anger bled out. Then let me teach you. He gestured to his team. Give us the room. They left. Dominic walked to the windows, looked out at Manhattan glittering below. I have 3 rules for anyone under my protection. If you agree, I can keep you alive. I can end this. But you have to trust that I know what I'm doing. What are the rules? 1. You don't leave my sight without security, not for any reason. He held up a second finger. 2. You tell me the truth. Always. Even when it's hard. Even when you think it'll make me walk away. And 3. He turned from the window. Met my eyes. You stop hiding. You take off the sunglasses. You stop apologizing for taking up space. You stop making yourself small because you think that's what survival looks like. My throat tightened. Because he saw it. Saw the way I'd learned to fold myself into nothing. Those aren't rules. Those are demands. Yes, they are. He stepped closer. And in exchange, I promise you 3 things. 1, I will keep you alive. 2, I will never lie to you. 3, when this is over, you get to walk away. Free. No strings. No obligation to me or my world. Why promise to let me go? Because keeping someone against their will isn't protection. It's imprisonment. And I've spent 5 years trying to atone for the things I did when I confused the two. There was a story there. A wound. I could see it in the way his shoulders tensed when he spoke about his wife. About the friend he couldn't save. I have one rule, I said. Just one. What is it? You don't lie to me about who you are. You don't pretend to be something civilized when you're about to do something terrible. I need to know what I'm accepting. Dominic studied me, then nodded. I've killed men, Emma. Not many, but enough. I've broken bones and used fear like currency. And before this is over, I'll probably do worse. He paused. But I won't lie to you about it, and I won't ask you to participate. The honesty was brutal, devastating, and somehow reassuring, because at least it was real. Okay, I said. Okay, I accept your rules, and you accept mine. Something that might have been relief crossed his face. He extended his hand. I took it. His grip was warm, firm. The first time I'd voluntarily touched him. Good. Now sit. We need to talk about what Marcus is really planning. I sat. Dominic returned with a laptop and file folders. You testified against Marcus for assault. He took a plea deal. But assault wasn't his only crime. It was just the only one you knew about. He opened a folder. Photos spilled out. Crime scenes. Bodies. Young women, all Asian, all between 18 and 25. Marcus's brother David ran a trafficking operation. Girls brought from China with promises of work, then forced into prostitution. David handled logistics. Marcus handled enforcement. Enforcement? Making sure the girls didn't run, didn't talk. When you met Marcus, he was taking a break, trying to seem normal, trying to find a woman who could be his alibi. I was his cover story. You were his experiment, to see if he could pass as human. And when you saw through it, you became the woman who got away. The one who testified. I couldn't breathe. Everything had been calculated. Strategic. After you testified, Marcus went to prison. But David was still operating. Dominic opened another folder. A photo of a beautiful blonde woman. This is Isabel, my wife's best friend. She was an investigative journalist. She spent 2 years building a case against David Chen's operation. What happened to her? David found out. 3 days before she was supposed to publish, she disappeared. They found her body in the Hudson 2 weeks later, officially ruled a suicide. He leaned back, pain in his eyes. Everyone knew what David had done. So you killed him. I made sure his car went off the road on a rainy night. Made sure he was alone. Dominic's voice was steady. And I'd do it again. And Marcus knows. Marcus has suspected for 5 years, but he could never prove it. Could never touch me. Until now. Until he realized I was protecting you. He smiled coldly. Now you're the weakness he can exploit. So what do? We flip the script. We draw him out. Force his hand. And when he makes a mistake, we end this. How? Dominic pulled out his phone. Showed me a building in Chinatown. Marcus has been using his brother's old operation. And I've been collecting evidence for 6 weeks. Ever since I learned he was getting out. You've been planning this. I've been waiting for the right moment. And you gave me that moment. He met my eyes. I'm sorry for using you as bait without asking. But I'm not sorry for the outcome. Because now we have a chance to stop him. I should have been angry. But all I felt was tired. And relieved. Because at least someone had a plan. What do you need from me? Your trust. Your patience. And your willingness to break a few rules. What kind of rules? The legal kind. His phone rang. He answered. When? His voice went sharp. I'm on my way. He ended the call. Looked at me. Marcus just hit 3 of my businesses. Simultaneously, minor fires, coordinated, professional. He's showing you he can reach you. He's showing me he's been planning this longer than I realized, which means we're out of time. We need to move now. Move where? To Chinatown. Tonight, while Marcus is watching his fires, we're going to walk into his operation and take everything. Evidence, records, witnesses. That's insane. And you're coming with me. Why would you bring me? Because if I leave you here, he'll find another way to get to you. And because I need you to see what he really is. He was right. I knew he was right. But knowing didn't make it easier to walk toward the door. We were halfway to the elevator when his phone buzzed. He looked at the screen. Went still. What? He turned the phone toward me. A photo. Of us in the warehouse. But the angle was from outside. Through a window, through a scope. Below. I could have killed you both. But where's the fun in that? Let's play a little longer, Moretti. P.S. Your warehouse on 9th? The one on fire? Danny's inside. And the doors are chained shut. You have 7 minutes to decide if he's worth saving. Dominic was already running. I followed, because what else could I do? The penthouse looked like a crime scene, not because of the blood, though there was blood, dark against the white wall, but because of what it spelled. She was never yours to save. I stood in the doorway while Dominic's team swept the apartment, looking for cameras, bombs, whatever else Marcus had left behind. It's pig's blood, someone said. Professional job. In and out in under 10 minutes. He disabled my security, Dominic said quietly. Too quietly. In my own home, I'd never seen him like this. In the warehouse, he'd been cold, controlled. But standing here, looking at his violated sanctuary, he looked almost human, almost vulnerable. I should go, I said. This is what he wants. To make you choose between protecting me and yourself. So I'll choose for you. I'll disappear. No. Dominic, you don't get to run. Not anymore. He turned to face me. Not when running is exactly what he expects. Then what do you want me to do? I want you to trust me. The words landed like a challenge, and I realized I didn't know how to trust anymore. Marcus had taken that ability. The belief that someone could help without wanting to control. I don't know how, I whispered. Something shifted in his expression. The anger bled out. Then let me teach you. He gestured to his team. Give us the room. They left. Dominic walked to the windows, looked out at Manhattan glittering below. I have 3 rules for anyone under my protection. If you agree, I can keep you alive. I can end this. But you have to trust that I know what I'm doing. What are the rules? 1. You don't leave my sight without security. Not for any reason. He held up a second finger. 2. You tell me the truth. Always. Even when it's hard. Even when you think it'll make me walk away. And 3. He turned from the window. Met my eyes. You stop hiding. You take off the sunglasses. You stop apologizing for taking up space. You stop making yourself small because you think that's what survival looks like. My throat tightened because he saw it. Saw the way I'd learned to fold myself into nothing. Those aren't rules. Those are demands. Yes, they are. He stepped closer. And in exchange, I promise you 3 things. 1, I will keep you alive. 2, I will never lie to you. 3, when this is over, you get to walk away. Free. No strings. No obligation to me or my world. Why promise to let me go? Because keeping someone against their will isn't protection. It's imprisonment. And I've spent 5 years trying to atone for the things I did when I confused the two. There was a story there. A wound. I could see it in the way his shoulders tensed when he spoke about his wife, about the friend he couldn't save. I have 1 rule, I said. Just 1. What is it? You don't lie to me about who you are. You don't pretend to be something civilized when you're about to do something terrible. I need to know what I'm accepting. Dominic studied me, then nodded. I've killed men, Emma. Not many, but enough. I've broken bones and used fear like currency. And before this is over, I'll probably do worse. He paused. But I won't lie to you about it, and I won't ask you to participate. The honesty was brutal, devastating, and somehow reassuring, because at least it was real. Okay, I said. Okay? I accept your rules, and you accept mine. Something that might have been relief crossed his face. He extended his hand. I took it. His grip was warm, firm. The first time I'd voluntarily touched him. Good. Now sit. We need to talk about what Marcus is really planning. I sat. Dominic returned with a laptop and file folders. You testified against Marcus for assault. He took a plea deal. But assault wasn't his only crime. It was just the only one you knew about. He opened a folder. Photos spilled out. Crime scenes. Bodies. Young women. All Asian. All between 18 and 25. Marcus's brother David ran a trafficking operation. Girls brought from China with promises of work, then forced into prostitution. David handled logistics. Marcus handled enforcement. Enforcement? Making sure the girls didn't run, didn't talk. When you met Marcus, he was taking a break, trying to seem normal, trying to find a woman who could be his alibi. I was his cover story. You were his experiment, to see if he could pass as human. And when you saw through it, you became the woman who got away, the one who testified. I couldn't breathe. Everything had been calculated, strategic. After you testified, Marcus went to prison, but David was still operating. Dominic opened another folder, a photo of a beautiful blonde woman. This is Isabel, my wife's best friend. She was an investigative journalist. She spent 2 years building a case against David Chen's operation. What happened to her? David found out. 3 days before she was supposed to publish, she disappeared. They found her body in the Hudson 2 weeks later, officially ruled a suicide. He leaned back, pain in his eyes. Everyone knew what David had done, so you killed him. I made sure his car went off the road on a rainy night, made sure he was alone. Dominic's voice was steady, and I'd do it again. And Marcus knows. Marcus has suspected for 5 years, but he could never prove it, could never touch me. Until now. Until he realized I was protecting you. He smiled coldly. Now you're the weakness he can exploit. So what do? We flip the script, we draw him out, force his hand, and when he makes a mistake, we end this. How? Dominic pulled out his phone, showed me a building in Chinatown. Marcus has been using his brother's old operation, and I've been collecting evidence for 6 weeks. Ever since I learned he was getting out. You've been planning this. I've been waiting for the right moment, and you gave me that moment. He met my eyes. I'm sorry for using you as bait without asking, but I'm not sorry for the outcome, because now we have a chance to stop him. I should have been angry, but all I felt was tired and relieved, because at least someone had a plan. What do you need from me? Your trust, your patience, and your willingness to break a few rules. What kind of rules? The legal kind. His phone rang. He answered, "When?" His voice went sharp. "I'm on my way." He ended the call, looked at me. Marcus just hit 3 of my businesses. Simultaneously, minor fires, coordinated, professional. He's showing you he can reach you. He's showing me he's been planning this longer than I realized, which means we're out of time. We need to move now. Move where? To Chinatown. Tonight, while Marcus is watching his fires, we're going to walk into his operation and take everything. Evidence, records, witnesses. That's insane. And you're coming with me. Why would you bring me? Because if I leave you here, he'll find another way to get to you. And because I need you to see what he really is. He was right. I knew he was right. But knowing didn't make it easier to walk toward the door. We were halfway to the elevator when his phone buzzed. He looked at the screen. Went still. What? He turned the phone toward me. A photo. Of us in the warehouse. But the angle was from outside. Through a window. Through a scope. Below. I could have killed you both. But where's the fun in that? Let's play a little longer, Moretti. P.S. Your warehouse on 9th. The one on fire. Danny's inside. And the doors are chained shut. You have 7 minutes to decide if he's worth saving. Dominic was already running. I followed. Because what else could I do? 7 minutes to save a man who'd tried to kidnap my sister. 7 minutes to decide if mercy mattered more than revenge. Dominic drove like he'd already made his choice. The warehouse district was industrial wasteland. Smoke rose black against the night sky. Fire trucks hadn't arrived yet. Dominic's car stopped 50 feet from the building, and he was out before the engine died, running toward flames. I followed. The heat hit like a wall. The warehouse was fully engulfed. Metal doors chained shut exactly as Marcus had promised. Somewhere inside, Danny Zhao was dying. "The back entrance," Dominic shouted. "It's steel. It might hold." His security team appeared with bolt cutters. The chains fell. The door shrieked open. Smoke poured out, thick and black. "Stay here," Dominic said. I grabbed his arm. "If you die in there, Marcus wins. If I let that kid die, I become Marcus." He pulled a shirt over his mouth and plunged into the smoke. I counted seconds. 30, 60, 90. The fire was consuming everything. At 2 minutes, movement. Dominic emerged, half carrying Danny, burns on his arms, face blackened, but breathing. We fell back as the roof collapsed. Paramedics arrived with fire trucks, descended on Danny with oxygen and IVs. Dominic stood apart, his suit ruined, face a mask of soot and rage. "He did this," I said. "Marcus. He chained those doors knowing you'd come. Everyone deserves a chance not to burn alive. Even people who work for monsters? Especially them, because most people do it because they don't see another option." He turned to me. "Danny's 23. He has a daughter. He took Marcus's money because he needed it. There was the wound, the history. The reason he'd run into fire for someone who'd tried to hurt us." The fire chief asked questions. Dominic lied smoothly. "Electrical fire. Faulty wiring. We left before anyone could wonder why." Back in the car, silence stretched. "Marcus knew you'd save him, so what did he gain? Time. While I was playing hero, he was somewhere else, doing something worse." His phone rang. He answered, listened, pulled over, turned his phone toward me. Security footage from the Chinatown building, showing Dominic's team collecting evidence. But the timestamp was 2 hours ago. Below the video. "Thanks for the distraction, Moretti. While you were saving one life, I was cleaning house. Every piece of evidence, gone. Every witness, disappeared." "He played us," I whispered. "No. We learned something valuable." Dominic's voice was calm. "That Marcus has been inside my organization, long enough to predict my responses, long enough to have someone feeding him information, someone close to Dominic, someone trusted, who, that's what we're about to find out." We drove to a restaurant in Little Italy. 6 men sat around a table. Dominic's inner circle. One of them was the traitor. Dominic laid out everything. The fires. The compromised evidence. As he spoke, I watched their faces for guilt. They all looked appropriately horrified. "I'm going to ask one question. Where were each of you 3 hours ago?" They answered, "Alibis, witnesses, stories to be verified." "Good. You're all free to go. Except you, Anthony." One man froze, mid-30s, expensive watch. "Dom?" His voice was steady. "What's this about?" "It's about family, about loyalty, about the fact that you're my cousin." Dominic pulled up his phone. "This is you, 2 months ago, meeting Marcus Chen in Queens, and this is you tonight, sending a text before the warehouse caught fire." The room went silent. Anthony's face drained of color. "I can explain. I want to know why." Anthony's composure cracked. "Your wife. When she was dying, you abandoned the family, went legitimate. You made us weak. So you sold me out to Marcus Chen. I gave him a chance to remind you who you really are." Anthony's voice held hatred. "You're still a Moretti, still a killer. You just convinced yourself you're doing it for noble reasons now." Dominic stood, walked behind Anthony. I held my breath, waiting for violence. But Dominic just leaned down and whispered something in Italian. "You have 12 hours to disappear, take your family, take your money, and never let me see you again. You're letting me go. I'm giving you what you gave my wife when she was dying, a chance to say goodbye. Don't waste it." Anthony left. The door closing sounded like the end of something. "Boss, if Anthony's been feeding Marcus information, he knows everything." Dominic looked at me. He knows where Emma's sister is, where Emma is, what our next move was supposed to be. So what do? We give Marcus what he wants. My blood went cold. What? He wants you. So we stop running. We walk straight into his trap. That's insane. That's the only play we have left. But this time, we control the variables, we choose the location, the timing. And when Marcus thinks he's won, when he believes he's finally gotten you back, that's when we destroy him. How? By giving him what he's always wanted. A confession. Recorded. Witnessed. Because men like Marcus can't help themselves. When they think they've won, they talk. They gloat. And that's when we take everything. I understood. To be bait. To walk into Marcus's arms wearing a wire. To endure his presence long enough to get him to confess. I can't. I can't see him again. Yes, you can. Dominic took my hands. Because you're stronger than you know. And because this time you won't be alone. The moment you're in real danger, we end it. And if something goes wrong, then I keep you alive. No matter what it costs. His phone buzzed. He looked at the screen. His expression hardened. He showed me. A video. Lily, tied to a chair. Tape across her mouth. Terror in her eyes. And Marcus, standing behind her. His voice, "Hi, Emma. You have 24 hours to come to me, alone, unarmed, willing. Or I start sending your sister back to you in pieces. The address is in the next message. Don't be late. I've missed you." The video ended. In the silence, I understood every choice had been leading here. There was no running, no hiding. "Okay," I said, voice steady despite the terror. "Tell me the plan." The plan was simple in the way that all terrible ideas are simple. Walk into Marcus's trap, wear a wire, get him talking, survive long enough for Dominic's team to extract me before Marcus realized he'd been played. Simple, suicidal. The only option we had left. I sat in Dominic's penthouse while a tech specialist named Sarah fitted me with equipment so sophisticated it was nearly invisible. A microphone the size of a pinhead embedded in the pendant of a necklace Dominic had given me. A panic button disguised as a bracelet charm. A tracker sewn into the hem of my jacket that would lead his team straight to me if everything went wrong. When everything went wrong. Because that's what happened when you walked into the arms of a man who'd spent 3 years dreaming about destroying you. The wire is voice activated, Sarah explained, her fingers gentle as she adjusted the necklace. It'll pick up everything within a 15-foot radius. But you need to get him talking, Emma. We need explicit confession. Details about the trafficking, about the murders, about anything that puts him away for life. And if he finds the wire... Sarah's silence was answer enough. Dominic stood by the window, watching the sunrise paint Manhattan in shades of gold and blood. He hadn't slept. Neither had I. We'd spent the night going over contingencies, backup plans, exit strategies. All the careful architecture of a mission that depended on me being convincing enough, broken enough, desperate enough to make Marcus believe I'd finally surrendered. "You don't have to do this," he said without turning around. "We can find another way. There is no other way." My voice was steadier than I felt. "He has Lily. He's had her for hours. Every minute we wait is another minute she's terrified. Another minute he could be hurting her. If he hurts you, then you make sure it wasn't for nothing. You make sure he pays." Dominic finally turned, crossed the room until he was standing in front of me, and the look in his eyes was something I'd never seen before. Not the cold calculation of a strategist, not the controlled fury of a man used to winning. Something rawer, more human. Something that looked almost like fear. "I'm supposed to protect you," he said quietly. "That was the promise. And instead, I'm sending you into the worst possible situation with nothing but a wire and a prayer. You're giving me a chance to end this, to save my sister, to take back everything he stole from me." I reached up, touched his face without thinking, felt the rough stubble, the tension in his jaw. "That's not failing to protect me. That's giving me my power back." He caught my hand, held it against his cheek for a moment that stretched too long and not long enough. Then he pulled away, professional distance reasserting itself like armor. "The address is a warehouse in Red Hook, old shipping facility, lots of exits, which is good for us. Marcus will have men stationed throughout, which is bad. He handed me a photo. This is the layout. You'll enter through the main doors. There's a loading dock on the east side where my team will be positioned. If you can get him to that area, we can move fast. And if I can't, then you use the panic button. One press and we come in. Loud, fast. Consequences be damned. Sarah finished with the equipment, stood back to examine her work. You look good. Nothing suspicious. Just remember, don't touch the necklace. Don't fidget with the bracelet. Act natural. Natural. As if anything about this was natural. As if I could walk into Marcus Chen's presence and be anything other than the terrified girl I'd been 3 years ago. But I nodded, because what else could I do? The car ride to Red Hook was silent. Dominic drove this time, just the two of us. His team would already be in position, invisible, waiting for the signal, waiting for me to either save us all or get us killed. Tell me something true, I said as we crossed the Brooklyn Bridge. The request came from nowhere, from the need to hear something real before I drowned in lies. What do you want to know? Why you really do this? The protection, the saving people. Is it really about your wife? About keeping promises to the dead? Dominic was quiet for so long I thought he wouldn't answer. Then, when Maria was dying, she was in so much pain, and I had all this power, all these resources, all these connections. But I couldn't save her, couldn't stop the cancer, couldn't do anything but watch her disappear piece by piece. He paused at a red light, looked at me. After she died, I realized something. Power is useless if you can't protect the people who matter. So I started looking for people I could save. People who were drowning like Maria drowned, like Isabel drowned. And every time I pulled someone out, every time I used this darkness I live in to create even a small amount of light, it felt like honoring her. Like maybe I wasn't just a monster after all. You're not a monster. I've done monstrous things. So has everyone who survives in a monstrous world. That doesn't make you evil. It makes you human. Something shifted in his expression, softened. And for a moment, he looked almost vulnerable, almost like someone who could believe he deserved redemption. The warehouse appeared ahead. Gray, industrial, surrounded by chain-link fence and the kind of emptiness that screamed trap. Marcus's car was already there. Black SUV with tinted windows, guards visible near the entrance. This was it. The moment everything changed or everything ended. Dominic pulled over a block away, cut the engine, turned to face me fully. Last chance to back out. Not a chance. Emma, he stopped. Started again. When this is over, when Lily is safe and Marcus is either dead or in custody, I want you to know something. What? That meeting you on that subway, letting you fall asleep on my shoulder, it wasn't random. I'd been watching you for weeks. Ever since I learned Marcus was getting out. Ever since I decided that if he was coming after anyone, I'd make sure I was there first. The confession landed between us like a stone in still water, ripples spreading outward, changing the shape of everything I thought I understood. You used me. I protected you. There's a difference. Is there? Yes. Because using you would mean I didn't care what happened to you as long as I got what I wanted. Protecting you means I'd burn down my entire world before I let Marcus Chen touch you again. He leaned closer. And I need you to understand that distinction. Because when you walk into that warehouse, when Marcus tries to break you, I need you to remember that you're not alone. That I'm watching, that I'm waiting, that I will come for you. Promise? On my life, I believed him. God help me. I believed him. I got out of the car, started walking toward the warehouse. Each step felt like moving through water, through time, through every moment of fear I'd ever felt condensed into this single walk across broken pavement. The guards at the entrance patted me down, professional, thorough. They found nothing because there was nothing to find, just a scared woman and the technology she was wearing like a second skin. They led me inside. The warehouse was exactly what I expected. Cavernous, dark, lit by industrial lights that created more shadows than illumination. And in the center, sitting in a chair like a king on a throne, was Marcus Chen. He looked different. Prison had hardened him, stripped away the charming veneer he'd worn when we met. His face was thinner, his eyes colder, but he smiled when he saw me. That same smile that had once made me feel special, that now made my skin crawl. Emma. He stood, opened his arms like we were old friends reuniting. You came. Where's my sister? Right to business. I always loved that about you. No games, no pretense. He gestured, and one of his men dragged Lily out from a side room. She was still bound, still gagged, but alive. Her eyes found mine, and I saw terror there, and relief, and something that looked like apology. Let her go, I said. I'm here. That was the deal. The deal was you come to me willingly, alone, unarmed. Marcus circled me like a predator, like he was looking for something he'd lost and finally found again. But I don't trust you, Emma. I don't trust that you're really here to stay. So Lily stays until I'm convinced you're serious. What do you want from me? What I've always wanted. He stopped in front of me. Too close. Close enough I could smell his cologne. The same scent he'd worn 3 years ago. I want you to admit you were wrong. That leaving me was a mistake. That testifying against me was vindictive and cruel. I want you to apologize. The words stuck in my throat, but I forced them out because Lily was watching, because Dominic was listening, because this was the performance that saved us all or damned us. I'm sorry. For what, specifically? For leaving, for testifying, for I stopped, swallowed, for not understanding what you needed from me. Marcus smiled, and it was the smile of a man who'd just won something precious. See? That wasn't so hard. He touched my face, and every instinct screamed to pull away, to run, but I held still. Let him trace my cheek with fingers that had broken me before. You were always so stubborn, Emma, always fighting, always resisting. But deep down, you knew you belonged to me. I never belonged to you. The words escaped before I could stop them. And I watched Marcus's expression change, darken. Still fighting, even now. Even when your sister's life depends on your compliance. He grabbed my chin, forced me to look at him. You think Moretti can save you? You think his money and his power make him better than me? We're the same, Emma. We both take what we want and destroy anyone who gets in our way. You're nothing like him. No. He killed my brother. Did he tell you that? Did he explain how David's car just happened to go off the road on a rainy night? How convenient. How clean. Marcus's voice was rising now, getting louder. Dominic Moretti is a murderer, a thug with better suits. And you fell for him just like you fell for me. Because you're drawn to powerful men, Emma. You always have been. I'm drawn to men who see me as human. You never did. Human? He laughed, sharp, bitter. You want to talk about human? Let's talk about the women David and I brought over from China. The ones Dominic's precious Isabel was so concerned about. You know what they were? Commodities, products. And they understood that. They accepted their role. But you couldn't accept anything. Couldn't just be grateful I chose you. There it was. The confession I needed. The admission that tied him to trafficking, to David's operation, to everything we needed to bury him. Tell me about them, I said, keeping my voice soft, submissive. The women. I want to understand. I want to know what I was competing with. Marcus's eyes lit up, like I'd just asked him to explain his favorite hobby. They were beautiful, young, desperate, perfect. We'd promised them jobs, education, a better life. And then we'd bring them here and show them what their life really looked like. He started pacing, animated now, caught up in his own narrative. David handled the logistics, the paperwork, the travel. But I handled quality control, making sure they understood the rules, making sure they didn't run, making sure they knew that resistance was futile. And if they tried to leave, then they learned what happens to girls who don't appreciate opportunities. He stopped, looked at me. Just like you learned, Emma. Just like I taught you that first time you tried to leave me. You remember that night, don't you? I remembered. God, I remembered. The night he'd broken 2 of my ribs and told me it was love. The night I'd stopped believing I could escape. I remember. Good. Because that's the lesson I need you to remember now. You can't escape me. You never could. And Dominic Moretti. He's about to learn the same lesson David learned. That the Chen family doesn't forgive, doesn't forget, and always collects its debts. What did you do to Dominic? Marcus smiled, pulled out his phone, showed me a video. Dominic's restaurant in Little Italy. The one where we'd confronted Anthony, except now it was on fire. Flames consuming the building, fire trucks arriving too late to save it, burned it down 20 minutes ago. Marcus's voice was gleeful. And that's just the beginning. Every business Dominic owns, every property, every connection, I'm going to destroy all of it, systematically, thoroughly, until the Moretti name means nothing, until he understands what it feels like to lose everything. You're insane. I'm thorough. There's a difference. He turned to his men. Bring the gasoline. My blood went cold. What? You didn't think I'd let you just walk away, did you? Oh, Emma. Sweet, naive Emma. Marcus circled back to me. You're the final piece, the woman who got away. The woman Dominic tried to save. And when you burn, when the whole world sees that even the great Dominic Moretti couldn't protect you, that's when I win. Completely. Absolutely. He was going to kill me. Here. Now. He'd never intended to let me live. I reached for the panic button. But Marcus was faster. He grabbed my wrist, twisted, and I felt the bracelet snap. Heard it clatter to the floor. Did you really think I wouldn't check for wires? For tracking devices? He ripped the necklace from my throat. I've been planning this for 3 years, Emma. Every detail, every contingency, including the part where Dominic tries to play hero. He threw the equipment to the ground, crushed it under his heel. And in that moment, I understood that all our careful planning meant nothing. That Marcus had been 3 steps ahead the entire time. That I was going to die here, and Lily was going to watch, and Dominic was going to blame himself forever. Unless I fought back. I drove my knee into Marcus's groin. Hard, vicious. He doubled over and I ran. Toward Lily, toward the side room where they'd been keeping her. If I could get to her, if I could free her, maybe we had a chance. I heard gunfire. Shouting. The warehouse doors exploding inward. Dominic's team. They'd come anyway. Wire or no wire. They'd come. Everything happened fast after that. Marcus's men firing, Dominic's team returning fire, bodies dropping, chaos erupting. And in the middle of it all, me reaching Lily, cutting her restraints with a shard of broken glass, pulling her toward the loading dock Dominic had marked on the map. We were almost there when Marcus grabbed me, pulled me backward, put a gun to my head. Everyone stop. The warehouse went silent. Dominic stood in the doorway, weapon raised, his team flanking him like an army. Let her go, Marcus. Why would I do that? Marcus's breath was hot against my ear. She's the only leverage I have left. Because if you hurt her, there's nowhere you can hide. No country far enough. No hole deep enough. I will find you. And what I do to you will make your brother's death look merciful. Big words from a man who's about to watch his girlfriend die. She's not my girlfriend. Dominic's voice was steady. She's family. And I protect family. Something shifted. I felt Marcus's grip loosen. Just slightly. Just enough. I dropped my weight. Twisted. And Dominic fired. The bullet caught Marcus in the shoulder. He screamed. The gun fell. And I was running again. This time into Dominic's arms. Into safety. Into the certainty that I'd survived. Marcus was on the ground. Bleeding. Surrounded by Dominic's men. Police sirens wailed in the distance. Someone had called them. Or Dominic had. Either way, it was over. Lily, I gasped. Where's... Here. Dominic pointed. One of his men was carrying her out. She was crying, but alive. You came, I said. The wire was broken, but you came anyway. I told you I would. Always. And standing there in a warehouse that smelled like gunpowder and gasoline, surrounded by violence and aftermath, I finally understood what protection really meant. Not control, not possession, but the willingness to show up even when the plan failed, even when the odds were impossible, even when showing up might mean losing everything. Marcus was loaded into an ambulance under police guard. The evidence we'd gathered over weeks would be enough. His confession, partial as it was, would be enough. The trafficking, the murders, the arson, all of it would bury him. But more than that, I was free. Actually, finally free. Dominic drove me and Lily to the hospital. We sat in the waiting room while doctors checked Lily over. Exhaustion was setting in now, the adrenaline fading, reality asserting itself. "What happens now?" I asked. "Now you heal." Dominic's voice was gentle. "You and Lily, you take time. You figure out who you are without fear. And when you're ready, you decide what comes next." "What about us? What about us?" "You said when this was over, I could walk away, free, no obligations." And I meant it. What if I don't want to walk away? Dominic looked at me, really looked. And in his eyes, I saw hope, fragile and tentative, but real. Then we figure it out, together. One day at a time, no promises except honesty, no expectations except respect, and no more running, from me or yourself. I think I can do that. Good, because you're not the only one who's tired of being alone. Lily emerged from the exam room, bruised but whole. She saw us sitting together, saw Dominic's hand covering mine, and she smiled. The first real smile I'd seen from her in years. "Take me home," she said. And we did. All of us. Together. 3 days after the warehouse, I still couldn't sleep in the dark. Dominic's penthouse had blackout curtains that turned the bedroom into a cave, but I'd pull them open every night, letting the city lights bleed in. Manhattan never really slept, and neither did I. Not properly. Not the way normal people did, surrendering consciousness without fear of what waited in the silence. Lily had gone back to New Jersey with Tom and the kids. They'd stayed one night in the penthouse, awkward and grateful and too aware that their normal life had been shattered by proximity to mine. Tom had shaken Dominic's hand with the careful respect of a man who understood he owed a debt he could never repay. Lily had held me for a long time before leaving, whispering that I should come home when I was ready, that her door was always open. But I wasn't ready, because going back to her life meant accepting that mine was something separate, something damaged, something that would always carry the stain of Marcus Chen. Marcus was in custody, held without bail at Rikers Island. The DA had called it an open and shut case. Attempted murder, kidnapping, arson. And when they started digging deeper, when they followed the threads Dominic had spent months weaving, they found the trafficking operation, found the bank accounts, found evidence that connected Marcus not just to his brother's business, but to murders spanning 5 years. He was never getting out. That's what the prosecutor told me. Never. The word felt too absolute to be real. I stood at Dominic's window, watching the sun rise over the East River, coffee growing cold in my hands. Behind me, I heard him emerge from his bedroom. He'd been sleeping on the couch since Lily left, giving me space I hadn't asked for but apparently needed. "You're up early," he said. His voice was rough with sleep. "I'm up late." I didn't turn around. Couldn't. Because looking at him made me feel things I wasn't ready to name. Gratitude and attraction and the dangerous confusion of someone who'd saved your life starting to look like someone who could be your life. "Emma, I need to leave." The words came out before I'd fully formed the thought. But once spoken, they felt true. Essential. Like the only way forward. I heard him move closer, felt him stop a careful distance away, respecting boundaries even now. "Where will you go?" "I don't know. Somewhere Marcus never touched. Somewhere I can figure out who I am when I'm not running or hiding or being protected." I finally turned to face him. "You said when this was over, I could walk away, that I'd be free. I meant it. Then why does it feel like I'm abandoning you?" Something flickered in his gray eyes. Pain. Maybe. Or understanding of a truth we'd both been avoiding. Because we went through something intense together. Trauma creates bonds. But bonds created in crisis aren't the same as bonds built in peace. He stepped closer. Close enough I could see the stubble on his jaw, the exhaustion he carried like a second skin. "You need to know who you are outside of fear, outside of needing to be saved. And I need to know that if you choose to stay, it's because you want to, not because you feel obligated." "I don't feel obligated." "Then what do you feel?" The question hung between us, sharp and unavoidable. What did I feel? Gratitude? Yes. Relief? Certainly. But underneath, something more complicated. Something that felt like the beginning of trust. The possibility of wanting someone not because they'd saved you, but because you'd seen them at their worst, and their best, and decided they were worth the risk. I feel confused, I admitted. 3 weeks ago, I was invisible, working 3 jobs, hiding. And now I'm standing in a penthouse with a man who kills people and saves people and somehow makes both seem like the same thing. I don't know how to process that. Don't know how to separate what I feel from what I've been through. Then don't. Don't process it or analyze it or try to make it make sense. He reached out, caught my hand. Just take time. Go wherever you need to go. Do whatever you need to do. And if you come back, you come back. If you don't, you don't. No judgment, no resentment. Just gratitude that I got to know you at all. It was the perfect thing to say, the exact words I needed to hear, and it made leaving both easier and impossibly harder. I need 2 weeks, I said. 2 weeks to go somewhere and breathe and figure out what my life looks like when it's actually mine. Where? California, maybe. I've never seen the Pacific Ocean. Never been west of Pennsylvania. It seems like the kind of place you go when you're trying to find yourself. Cliché and far away and nothing like Brooklyn. Dominic smiled. Small but real. California's good, warm, anonymous. You can get lost there if you want to be lost. I don't want to be lost. I want to be found. By myself. On my own terms. Then that's what you should do. He made the arrangements that afternoon. A flight to Los Angeles. A hotel in Santa Monica. Credit cards in my real name, Emma Reeves, not Sarah or any of the other aliases I'd worn like armor. He didn't ask to come with me. Didn't offer security or surveillance or any of the protective measures that had defined our relationship. He just let me go. The airport felt surreal. I hadn't flown in 4 years. Hadn't done anything that required ID or paper trails or the assumption that I had a right to move freely through the world. But walking through TSA, boarding the plane, finding my seat by the window, it felt like reclaiming something I'd forgotten I'd lost. The woman beside me was reading a romance novel, the kind with a shirtless man on the cover and a title that promised passion and danger in equal measure. She noticed me looking and smiled. Guilty pleasure, she said. My therapist says I use romance novels to process my divorce. I think I just like the escapism. Is it working? The escapism? Sometimes. When the hero isn't too much like my ex? She laughed. You traveling for business or pleasure? Neither. I'm traveling to figure out what comes after survival. The woman studied me for a moment, then nodded like that made perfect sense. California's good for that. Something about the ocean. Makes you feel small and infinite at the same time. We talked for the rest of the flight, light conversation about nothing important, and it felt revolutionary. To be normal? To be a woman on a plane having a conversation with a stranger who knew nothing about Marcus or Dominic or the violence that had defined my life. When we landed, she gave me her card. If you need a friend while you're here, call me. I know what it's like to start over. I took the card, knew I'd probably never use it, but appreciated the gesture anyway. Santa Monica was exactly what I needed. Sunshine and ocean breeze and the kind of casual beauty that felt deliberately designed to heal. I spent the first 3 days doing nothing, just walking the beach, eating at restaurants where no one knew me, sleeping without fear because Marcus was 3,000 miles away in a cell, and Dominic was giving me space I hadn't realized I was desperate for. On the 4th day, I did something I hadn't done in years. I went to a bookstore, not to work, not to hide between the stacks, just to browse. To remember what it felt like to choose a book because I wanted to read it, not because I needed the paycheck. I found myself in the self-help section, laughing a little at the irony. Every title seemed to promise transformation, freedom, the ability to overcome your past and become your best self, as if trauma was something you could read your way out of. Those books are bullshit, someone said behind me. I turned. A woman in her 50s, gray hair cut short, wearing a UCLA sweatshirt and a knowing smile. Excuse me? The self-help books. They're all bullshit. You can't read your way to healing. You have to live your way there. She pulled a book from the shelf. This one's the exception, though. Written by a woman who survived 15 years of abuse. No platitudes, no easy answers, just honest testimony about what it takes to rebuild yourself. She handed it to me. The cover was simple, black text on white. After. One woman's journey from victim to survivor to human. How do you know I need this? Because you're standing in the self-help section of a bookstore in Santa Monica looking like you're trying to solve a puzzle you don't have all the pieces to. Trust me, I know the look. I wore it for years. And the book helped? The book helped me realize I wasn't alone, that what I was feeling was normal, that healing isn't linear and trauma doesn't have an expiration date. She touched my arm gently. Whatever you survived, you survived. The hard part now is learning to live instead of just existing. She walked away before I could respond. And I stood there holding the book, feeling seen in a way that was both comforting and terrifying. I bought the book. Read it that night in my hotel room while the ocean whispered outside my window. And she was right. The author didn't offer platitudes. She offered truth, messy and complicated and sometimes ugly truth about what it meant to survive abuse and then figure out who you were on the other side. One passage stopped me cold. People will tell you that leaving is the hard part, that once you escape, once you're physically safe, the rest is just recovery. But they're wrong. Leaving is survival instinct. Staying gone when part of you still believes you deserved it. That's the real work. That's where you either become whole again or stay fractured forever. I read it 3 times. Then I picked up my phone and called Dominic. He answered on the first ring. Emma, are you okay? I'm fine. I'm good. I paused, trying to find words for what I was feeling. I'm in California reading a book about trauma recovery and realizing I've been so focused on surviving Marcus that I forgot to acknowledge why I stayed with him in the first place. Why did you stay? Because I thought love was supposed to hurt? Because my parents fought constantly before they died, and I thought that's what relationships look like. Fighting and making up and fighting again. I thought the intensity meant it was real. The silence on the other end was patient, waiting. And I'm realizing that's the thing I need to heal. Not just the trauma Marcus caused, but the reason I was vulnerable to him in the first place. That's good, Emma. That's really good. Is it? Because it feels terrifying. Like I'm admitting I participated in my own destruction. You didn't participate. You were manipulated by someone who knew exactly how to exploit your vulnerabilities. There's a difference. Dominic's voice was firm, certain, but understanding why you were vulnerable, that's how you make sure it never happens again. How did you get so wise about trauma? By surviving my own, by making mistakes, by learning that power without self-awareness is just violence with better branding. We talked for an hour about nothing and everything, about his childhood in Brooklyn, growing up in a family where violence was currency and loyalty was survival, about my parents and their toxic relationship and the ways children absorb dysfunction and call it love, about the difference between being saved and saving yourself. When we finally hung up, I felt lighter, more whole, like I'd taken a step toward something I couldn't quite name but recognized as essential. The next week passed in a blur of small revelations. I took a pottery class and learned my hands could create instead of just defend. I went to a trauma-informed yoga studio and cried through the entire session when the instructor told us it was safe to let go. I sat on the beach at sunset and watched couples walk by and didn't feel the old panic. The fear that intimacy meant danger, that connection meant losing yourself. On my last night in California, I went back to the bookstore, found the woman who'd recommended the book. I wanted to thank you, I said, for the recommendation. It helped. Good. She smiled. You look different. Lighter. I feel different. Like I'm starting to understand the difference between surviving and living. That's the goal. Now comes the hard part. What's that? Figuring out what you want your life to look like. Not what you think it should look like. Not what makes you safest. But what actually makes you happy. She paused. Most people never figure that out. They just drift from one version of survival to another. Don't be one of those people. I won't. Good. Because you've already done the hard work of surviving. Don't waste it by being too afraid to actually live. I flew back to New York the next day, but I didn't go straight to Dominic's penthouse. Instead, I went to my old apartment building in Brooklyn, the one that had the gas leak. The one Marcus had violated as casually as he'd violated everything else in my life. The building was being renovated. New windows, fresh paint. The landlord saw me standing on the sidewalk and came out. Emma, I thought you'd moved out permanently. I did. I just wanted to see it, to say goodbye properly. Goodbye to what? To the version of myself that lived here. That thought hiding was the same as healing. He studied me for a moment, then nodded. For what it's worth, you look better, stronger, like you found whatever you were looking for. I'm getting there. I walked through Brooklyn one last time, past Sal's Diner, which was being rebuilt, past the bookstore where I'd worked, which had a new employee in the window arranging displays, past all the places I'd haunted like a ghost, trying to be invisible. But I wasn't invisible anymore, and I wasn't a ghost. I was just Emma, complicated and damaged and healing, and for the first time in years, that felt like enough. When I finally went to Dominic's penthouse, I used the key he'd given me weeks ago. Let myself in like I had a right to be there. Like I belonged. He was in his office, surrounded by paperwork, dealing with the aftermath of Marcus's rampage, the burned businesses, the broken contracts, the careful reconstruction of an empire that had been targeted because of me. He looked up when I entered, and the expression on his face, relief and joy and something deeper, something that looked like hope, made my chest tight. You came back. I came back. How was California? Healing. Revelatory. Exactly what I needed. I crossed the room, sat across from him like we were business partners instead of two people who'd saved each other in ways that had nothing to do with violence. I figured some things out. Like what? Like I spent 3 years being afraid of Marcus. And then I spent 3 weeks letting you protect me. And both of those things were necessary, but neither of them were sustainable. I needed to learn how to protect myself, how to be whole without needing someone else to make me feel safe. And did you? Learn that? I'm learning it. It's not finished. Maybe it never will be. But I'm not afraid anymore. Not of Marcus. Not of being alone. Not of the idea that I might be damaged beyond repair. Dominic leaned back in his chair, studied me with those gray eyes that saw too much and somehow just enough. So what now? Now I figure out what I want, not what I need, not what's safest, but what actually makes me happy. I paused. And I think part of that is you. Not because you saved me, not because I owe you, but because when I think about building a life that's actually mine, you're in it. If you want to be Emma, but I need you to understand something. I'm not the woman you met on the subway. I'm not the victim you protected in the warehouse. I'm someone new, someone still figuring herself out. And I need space to do that without feeling like I'm letting you down. You could never let me down. I could. By staying because I'm grateful instead of because I want to. By making you responsible for my healing instead of doing the work myself. By confusing protection with love. Dominic stood, came around the desk, stopped in front of me with that careful distance he always maintained. I don't want you to stay because you're grateful. I want you to stay because you choose to. Every day. Knowing you could leave and be fine. Knowing you don't need me, but wanting me anyway. That's what I want too. Then we start there. No expectations, no pressure, just two people figuring out how to build something real instead of something forged in crisis. I can do that. Good. He smiled, and it transformed his entire face, made him look young and hopeful and almost vulnerable. Because I'm tired of being alone too. I stood, closed the distance between us. And for the first time, I kissed him. Not because I was grateful or afraid or seeking safety, but because I wanted to. Because he was complicated and damaged and healing too. Because we'd both survived things that should have destroyed us, and somehow emerged on the other side intact enough to try. The kiss was gentle, tentative, a question instead of an answer. And when we pulled apart, we were both smiling. What now? I asked. Now we take it slow. We build something. We make mistakes and forgive them. We figure out how to be people instead of just survivors. I like that plan. Good. Because I don't have a backup. We stood there in his office while the sun set over Manhattan. Two broken people holding each other's pieces and pretending we knew how to put them back together. We didn't. Not really. But we were willing to try. And that, I was learning, was the bravest thing of all. 6 months later, I woke up in my own apartment. Not Dominic's penthouse. Not a hotel room in California. Not my sister's guest room in New Jersey. My apartment. A studio in Park Slope with exposed brick and windows that faced east, catching the morning light like a promise. I'd signed the lease 3 months ago, furnished it slowly, carefully, choosing each piece because I loved it, not because it was practical or cheap or easily abandoned. The coffee maker was new. So were the plants on the windowsill. Succulents that required minimal care but proved I could keep something alive. The bed was mine. The books on the shelf were mine. The life I was building, piece by careful piece, was entirely, completely mine. I made coffee, watched the sunrise paint Brooklyn in shades of gold and rose, and for the first time in as long as I could remember, I felt something close to peace. My phone buzzed. A text from Dominic. Breakfast, my place or yours? We'd settled into a rhythm over the past months. Slow, intentional. He'd come to my apartment twice a week. I'd go to his penthouse on weekends. We'd have dinner, watch movies, talk about everything and nothing. Sometimes we'd fall asleep tangled together on the couch. Sometimes I'd wake up panicking and he'd hold me until the fear passed. Sometimes he'd disappear for days handling business he wouldn't explain and I wouldn't ask about, because I'd learned that loving someone complicated meant accepting that you'd never know all their darkness. But we were building something real. Something that existed outside of crisis and fear. Something that looked almost like love. Yours, I texted back. But I'm cooking. No more 5-star chef deliveries. Your pancakes are better anyway. I smiled. Set about making breakfast. The domesticity of it still felt strange sometimes. Novel. Like playing house, except the house was real, and so was the person I was becoming inside it. Dominic arrived an hour later with flowers. Sunflowers. My favorite. He'd remembered from a conversation we'd had months ago, one of those late-night talks where we'd traded small truths like currency. You look happy, he said, kissing my forehead. I am happy. I took the flowers, found a vase, arranged them while he watched. I got the job. The counseling position? The counseling position. I turned to face him, unable to contain my smile. I start next month, working with women leaving domestic violence situations, helping them navigate the legal system, find resources, rebuild their lives. Dominic's expression shifted, softened into something that looked like pride, like joy, like he understood what this meant, that I was taking everything I'd survived and transforming it into something that could save others. Emma, that's incredible. It's terrifying. I have no idea if I'm qualified, if I can actually help anyone, if I'm healed enough myself to guide other people through their healing. You're qualified because you survived, because you understand what they're going through in ways that no textbook can teach. He crossed to me, took my hands, and you're not supposed to be perfectly healed. You're supposed to be honest about the work, about the fact that healing isn't linear, that some days you wake up feeling whole and some days you wake up feeling like you're drowning. You've been reading my therapy books again. I've been paying attention to you. We ate breakfast on my tiny balcony, pancakes and coffee and the comfortable silence of two people who'd learned they didn't need to fill every moment with words. Below us, Brooklyn was waking up, people walking dogs, joggers passing, the ordinary magic of a Sunday morning. I have something to tell you, Dominic said eventually. The tone made me look up. Not alarmed, just attentive. Marcus's trial date got moved up. They want to fast-track it, get him sentenced before the end of the year. My stomach tightened. I'd been avoiding thinking about the trial, about having to testify again, about seeing Marcus in a courtroom and reliving everything he'd done. When? 3 weeks. The DA called yesterday. They want to meet with you. Go over your testimony. Make sure you're prepared. I don't know if I can do it. See him again. Even with guards and lawyers and the entire system between us. You don't have to. Dominic's voice was gentle. They have enough evidence without your testimony. The trafficking charges, the attempted murder, the arson. You could walk away right now and he'd still spend the rest of his life in prison. But your testimony adds context, makes it personal. Shows the jury exactly who Marcus Chen is and what he's capable of. It could be the difference between 25 to life and life without parole. I stared out at the city, at the life I'd built, at the freedom I'd fought so hard to claim, and I realized that testifying wasn't about Marcus anymore. It wasn't about revenge or justice or any of the complicated emotions I'd carried for years. It was about closure, about standing in front of the man who'd tried to destroy me and showing everyone, that I'd survived. that I'd become someone he couldn't touch, that his power over me had ended the moment I decided I was worth saving. "I'll do it," I said. "I'll testify." "You're sure?" "I'm sure." Because he needs to see who I became. Needs to understand that trying to break me only made me stronger. Dominic nodded, squeezed my hand, and I saw something in his eyes that looked like respect, like recognition of the fact that I wasn't the woman he'd saved on the subway anymore. I was someone who could save herself. The next 3 weeks passed in a blur of preparation, meeting with prosecutors, going over my statement, rehearsing answers to questions I knew Marcus's defense attorney would ask. It was exhausting, triggering. Some nights I'd call Dominic at 2 a.m, panicking, convinced I couldn't go through with it, and he'd talk me down, remind me I was strong enough, that I'd already survived the worst Marcus could do. My therapist, I'd started seeing one in California and continued after I got back, helped me develop coping strategies, grounding techniques for when the courtroom felt too overwhelming, mantras to repeat when Marcus's presence threatened to drag me back into old fear patterns. She reminded me that testifying was a choice, that I could walk away at any moment, that my worth wasn't tied to whether I was brave enough to face him. But I wanted to be brave enough, not for the system or for justice or for anyone else, for myself, to prove that I'd taken back every piece of power he'd stolen. Lily came to New York the day before the trial. She stayed with me in my apartment, and we spent the evening cooking together like we used to when we were kids, before our parents died, before Marcus, before everything got complicated. "I'm proud of you," she said while we chopped vegetables, "for doing this, for building this life, for not letting him win. He didn't win. But I didn't either. Not really. We both just survived." "No, you did more than survive. You transformed. You took every terrible thing that happened and used it as fuel to become someone incredible. That's not survival. That's victory." I wanted to believe her, wanted to accept that what I'd built was enough, that I was enough. But there was still a small, scared part of me that wondered if I'd ever stop looking over my shoulder, if I'd ever fully trust that the danger had passed. The morning of the trial, I wore a navy suit Dominic had helped me pick out, professional, strong, the armor of someone who refused to be victimized twice. My hair was pulled back, no sunglasses, no hiding, just me, Emma Reeves, survivor, witness, woman reclaiming her narrative. Dominic met me outside the courthouse. He couldn't come inside. Conflict of interest, the prosecutors had said, given his history with the Chen family. But he walked me to the doors, held both my hands, looked at me with those gray eyes that had seen me at my worst and my best and never wavered. "You've got this," he said. "What if I don't? What if I freeze? What if seeing him makes me forget everything I've learned about being strong? Then you remember that strength isn't the absence of fear. It's acting despite it, and you've been doing that every day for months. This is just one more day. One more day. One more day. And then it's over. And you get to walk out of that courtroom and live the life you've built. The life he can never touch again." I kissed him, quick and fierce. A promise that I was coming back, that whatever happened in that courtroom wouldn't break me. Then I walked inside. The courtroom was smaller than I expected. Less dramatic. Just wood paneling and fluorescent lights, and people who looked bored. Like this was just another Tuesday instead of the moment that would define the rest of Marcus Chen's life. The prosecutor, a woman named Sarah Mitchell, who'd survived her own abusive marriage and spent the last decade putting men like Marcus away, squeezed my shoulder as I took my seat. "Just tell the truth," she whispered. "That's all you have to do." The jury filed in. The judge took his seat, and then they brought Marcus in. He looked smaller than I remembered. Prison had done that. Stripped away the expensive clothes and the charm and the carefully constructed persona that had fooled me into thinking he was human. He was thinner, harder. His eyes found mine immediately, and I saw the calculation there. The assessment. Like he was trying to figure out if I was still the scared girl he remembered, or if I'd evolved into something he couldn't control. I held his gaze. Didn't look away, didn't flinch, and I watched something shift in his expression. Recognition, maybe fear. The understanding that I wasn't his victim anymore. The trial proceeded with the mechanical efficiency of a system that had seen too many cases like this. Witnesses testified. Evidence was presented. Photos of the warehouse, recordings of phone calls, financial documents proving the trafficking operation. It was damning, overwhelming, more than enough to convict him 10 times over. But when Sarah Mitchell called my name, when I stood and walked to the witness stand, the entire energy in the room changed. This was what everyone had been waiting for. The victim confronting her abuser. The woman who got away telling her story. I was sworn in, took my seat, and looked out at the courtroom full of strangers who were about to hear the worst moments of my life reduced to testimony. Sarah started with easy questions. My name, how I met Marcus, the early days of our relationship when everything seemed perfect. Then she moved into harder territory. The first time he hit me, the escalation, the night I finally called the police. I answered mechanly, factually, like I was describing something that happened to someone else. It was a defense mechanism my therapist had taught me. Dissociation as a survival tool. Separate the story from the emotion. Get through it without falling apart. Marcus's defense attorney, a slick man in an expensive suit who'd built his career defending monsters, cross-examined me with the expected aggression, suggesting I'd exaggerated, that I'd been complicit, that I'd stayed because part of me wanted to. I'd prepared for this. Knew he'd try to blame me for my own abuse. But hearing the words out loud, in a courtroom, with Marcus watching, it was harder than I'd anticipated. Ms. Reeves, the attorney said, leaning against the witness stand with calculated casualness. Isn't it true that you and Mr. Chen had a volatile relationship? That you fought as often as he allegedly hurt you? We fought. But there's a difference between an argument and assault. Is there? Because from what I understand, you threw things, screamed, pushed him. Sounds like mutual combat to me. I defended myself. That's not the same as being violent. So you admit you were violent? I admit I tried to survive. The judge intervened before the attorney could push further, reminded him to stick to relevant questions. But the damage was done. The seed of doubt planted. The suggestion that maybe I wasn't as innocent as I claimed. During the break, Sarah found me in the bathroom. I was shaking, trying to hold it together. You're doing great, she said. He's grasping at straws. The jury sees that. He made me sound like I'm the problem, like I deserved what Marcus did. He made himself sound desperate. There's a difference. She handed me a tissue. One more session this afternoon. Then you're done. Then you never have to see Marcus Chen again. The afternoon session was worse. They played audio recordings from my original testimony 3 years ago. My voice, younger and more broken, describing in explicit detail what Marcus had done. The bruises, the broken ribs, the night he'd held a knife to my throat and told me I'd never leave him alive. I had to sit there and listen to myself relive trauma while Marcus watched, while the jury took notes, while the whole world bore witness to my humiliation. But I didn't cry, didn't break, just sat straight in my chair and breathed through it. Reminded myself this was temporary. That in a few hours, I'd walk out of this courthouse and go back to my life, my apartment, my job, my future that had nothing to do with Marcus Chen. When Sarah finally dismissed me, when I was allowed to step down from the witness stand, I didn't look at Marcus, didn't give him the satisfaction of seeing any emotion on my face. Just walked out of that courtroom with my head high and my spine straight. Dominic was waiting in the hallway. He didn't ask if I was okay, didn't offer empty platitudes. Just pulled me into his arms and held me while I finally let myself shake. It's over, I whispered into his chest. It's over. I did it. I actually did it. You did. And you were incredible. We left the courthouse through a side exit, avoiding the press that had gathered out front, drove back to my apartment in silence. And when we got there, I took the longest shower of my life, trying to wash away the feeling of Marcus's eyes on me. The sound of my own broken voice playing for strangers. The weight of having to prove my suffering was real enough to matter. When I emerged, Dominic had ordered Thai food. We ate on my balcony watching the sunset, and slowly, gradually, I started to feel human again. The prosecutor said the verdict should come back in a few days. I said eventually. She's confident it'll be guilty on all counts. It will be. The evidence is overwhelming. But what if it's not? What if the jury believes his attorney? Believes I'm exaggerating or lying or... Emma. Dominic set down his food, took my hands. Even if somehow, impossibly, the jury came back with not guilty, which they won't, you still won. You still testified, still faced him, still showed him that he doesn't control you anymore. The verdict doesn't change that, doesn't it? If he walks free, he's not walking free. He has federal trafficking charges, federal arson charges. Even if this trial goes sideways, which it won't, he has 3 more trials lined up. He's never getting out, Emma. Never. I wanted to believe him, wanted to trust that the system would work this time, that Marcus would finally face consequences for everything he'd destroyed. 3 days later, the verdict came back. Guilty. On all counts. Attempted murder. Kidnapping. Assault. Arson. Trafficking. Money laundering. The jury had deliberated for less than 4 hours. The judge sentenced him to life without the possibility of parole, plus additional consecutive sentences for the other charges. Marcus Chen would die in prison. That was the reality. The final, absolute end to his ability to hurt anyone ever again. Sarah called me with the news. I was at work, my first week at the counseling center, when my phone rang. I stepped outside to take the call, and when she told me, I couldn't quite process it. Say that again. Life without parole, Emma. He's never getting out. You're free. Free. The word felt too big, too absolute, like something that couldn't possibly apply to me. I called Dominic, then Lily, then my therapist, each time saying the words out loud, trying to make them real. Marcus was in prison. Forever. I was safe. Actually, finally, completely safe. That night, Dominic took me to dinner. Not his penthouse, not a fancy restaurant. A small Italian place in the West Village that his grandmother used to take him to as a kid. Cozy and warm and full of the kind of ordinary happiness I was still learning to trust. How does it feel? He asked over wine and pasta. Strange. Like I should feel more relief or joy or vindication, but mostly I just feel empty. Like I've been carrying this weight for so long that now that it's gone, I don't know what to do with the space it left behind. Fill it with something better, with work you love, people you choose, a life that's entirely yours. Is that what you did? After your wife died? Filled the space with something better? Dominic was quiet for a moment. Then, I tried. I built an empire, made money, gained power, but none of it filled the space. Not really. Not until I met someone who reminded me what it meant to be human instead of just powerful. Who? You. He reached across the table, took my hand. You reminded me that strength isn't the same as hardness, that protecting people matters more than controlling them, that some things are worth fighting for, even when the fight costs everything. I think you taught me those things. Then we taught each other, and that's better than either of us figuring it out alone. We walked home through the city, past the late-night crowds and the street performers and the endless energy of New York refusing to sleep. And somewhere between the restaurant and my apartment, I realized something. I was happy, not healed. Maybe I'd never be fully healed, but happy, content with the life I was building, grateful for the people who'd helped me build it, hopeful about what came next. When we reached my building, Dominic stopped on the sidewalk. I have something for you, he said. He pulled a small box from his pocket. Not jewelry. I could tell by the shape. I opened it to find a key. What's this? A key to my penthouse. So you don't have to text before coming over. So you can show up whenever you want. Stay as long as you want. Make it yours if you want. Dominic, I'm not asking you to move in. I'm not asking for anything except the possibility that someday, when you're ready, we build something permanent. Together. On purpose. Not because we survived something terrible, but because we want to. I looked at the key. At him. At the future he was offering that was terrifying and wonderful and exactly what I wanted. Okay. Not now, but someday. When I'm ready. When I know that choosing you is about wanting you, not needing you. That's all I'm asking for. I put the key on my keychain, right next to the key to my apartment. 2 homes. 2 possibilities. The life I'd built alone, and the life I might build with someone who understood that love didn't require losing yourself. That night, I slept better than I had in years. No nightmares, no panic. Just the deep, dreamless rest of someone who'd finally stopped running. The next morning, I went to work. Sat across from a woman named Jessica who was leaving her husband after 8 years of abuse. She was scared. broken, convinced she'd never be whole again. I told her my story. Not all of it, just enough to show her that surviving was possible, that healing was possible, that the person you became after trauma could be stronger than the person you were before. Did it get easier? She asked. Being alone? Starting over? Yes. And no. Some days I wake up feeling invincible. Some days I wake up feeling like I'm still that scared girl on the subway. But the good days started outnumbering the bad. And eventually, the bad days became bearable because I knew they were temporary. How long did it take? I don't know if there's a finish line. I think healing is just something you do every day. Some days you do it well. Some days you barely manage. But you keep doing it. And that's enough. Jessica cried. Then she smiled. Then she thanked me for being honest, for not promising it would be easy or fast or magically transformative. And I realized this was what I'd survived for. Not revenge, not justice, not even happiness. But this, the ability to sit with someone's pain and say, I understand, I've been there, and I promise you can survive it too. That evening, I met Dominic for dinner. Regular Wednesday date night. No crisis, no drama. Just two people who'd survived things that should have destroyed them, choosing each other again and again. Good day? He asked. Great day. I helped someone. Really helped them. Made a difference. Of course you did. You're incredible at this. I'm trying to be. Trying to turn all the terrible things I survived into something that matters. You already do. Just by existing. Just by refusing to let Marcus win. We talked about nothing important. About the new restaurant opening in Park Slope. About the movie we wanted to see this weekend. About his niece's birthday party next month. Ordinary conversations. Ordinary life. The kind of peace I'd stopped believing was possible. When I got home, I found a package outside my door. No return address. Just my name written in careful script. Inside, a single sunflower and a note. You did it. You testified. You survived. You won. I'm so proud of the woman you've become. I put the sunflower in water, set it on my windowsill where the morning light would catch it, and I stood there in my apartment, my home, my sanctuary, my proof that I'd rebuilt myself from ashes, and I smiled. Because Marcus Chen was in prison, Dominic Moretti was in my life, and I, Emma Reeves, was finally, completely, undeniably free. Free to heal, free to grow, free to build whatever life I wanted without fear or shame or the weight of someone else's violence. Free to be exactly who I chose to be. And that, I realized, was the greatest victory of all. If you made it to the end of this story, let us know in the comments which city you're watching from, and click the yellow bell to subscribe to the channel and support us. Keep the adventure going by clicking on the suggested video on your screen.